Welcome to the Hollywood Raw YouTube page, guys. We're happy to have you here. Make sure you like, subscribe, leave us comments, do all the stuff.
What are you waiting for? Let's go. I got a drug addiction to feed.
Welcome to the Hollywood Raw podcast, Raw Rundown. That's right. This is the Raw Rundown where we kind of give you the top 10 stories. We give you the top 10 stories of the week of entertainment news so you know a little bit what's going on in the world of celebrity and pop culture. My name is Adam Glyn. On the other side of the country is my friend Dax Holt. Hi, Dax.
Hello. I'm so impressed with you. You actually got the name of the episode down correctly this time.
Raw Rundown. Hollywood Raw Rundown.
Yeah.
Hollywood Raw
Normally
Rundown.
it's like, hey, this is the top 10 rundown Raw something or other. I'm really proud of you, dude. It's only been like 4 years of us doing this. It's really good that you finally got it.
Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm getting there slowly. On Fridays, we come out with the Raw Rundown. In the middle of the week, we have more of our interviews. Maybe sometimes me and you kind of shoot the shit. But then we also have guests. This past week at Ian Halpern, who's a New York Times bestselling author he's a investigative journalist who's worked on crazy amount of stories from the Kardashians to Michael Jackson to Kurt Cobain. Next week, we just got done recording a podcast for next week, which you are not going to want to miss this. I'm not going to say it is. Just tune in next week.
No, you give them a little teaser. I think giving it to people love our photographer episodes, our man on the street, photog kind of stuff. And this guy did not disappoint. He is phenomenal. He has taken some of the biggest photos that you guys have absolutely seen and talks about the behind the scenes of getting those photos and what he had to go through and how long he was there for. It is such a good episode. We were like right before we started recording this, just talking about how excited we are about the episode and how fun it was and how we're going to have him back because we enjoyed the episode. And it takes a lot to impress us these days. And I feel like we both walked away from that episode like excited about next week.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to a Raw Rundown. We try to make this quick, easy, and not too painful for you. And then before we get to that, Dax, do you have just quick reviews you can read us?
I'm going to do one today just so we can get going here.
Sure.
But this one is 5 stars from Vegas Man 777. Simply the best. It's titled A Must Listen. Dax and Adam's fresh approach to reporting on Hollywood. Always good for a laugh, and their guests are top notch. If you only listen to one podcast each week, make it this one, and you won't be disappointed. My only wish was that their podcasts were longer. Please shout me out on the show. Jeff Wall, pronounced Wall, from Wilmington, Delaware. Love it.
Very cool. Love that. Thank you. The best thing to do to support this podcast is leave a review. Just go to iTunes or Apple, wherever you listen. Just put in Hollywood Raw, go to the bottom, and that's where you can just say a few kind words, 5 stars. On to the Raw Rundown, starting with number 10. Dax, what's number 10?
Number 10, Jewel opening up saying that her mom allegedly stole, get this, $100 million from her, which is just wild. So she went on, she had an interview with Very Well Mind podcast and talked all about all kinds of stuff, her childhood and growing up. And she revealed that she woke up and realized her mom had embezzled all of her money, over $100 million. And she didn't even realize it. I guess her mom was her former manager. And so she didn't know what she had been up to and still has no idea where all the money went and left her $3 million in debt. And she didn't really have a good childhood, I guess, relationship with her mom when she was younger, didn't really realize why she grew up kind of living with her father and that her mom wanted no responsibility with the children, all kinds of stuff, really, really opening up about it, and said she had a very difficult, psychological thing for her to overcome and come to grips with. So, I just was so shocked at that number, $100 million you stole from your daughter. That is some messed up crap right there.
Yeah, Jewel was clearly rounding up when it came to this. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. No, that's crazy. I mean, this is not the first time we've heard their parents as a manager, a business manager, kind of taking a hefty salary from the celebrity. We've seen it with I don't know, didn't it happen to Dustin Diamond? It happened to,
It's happened to a lot. I mean, these parents, all this money is rolling in, and they start to go, "Oh, like what do I do with it?" And listen, I think it would be so easy for her to just shift it to another bank account. Did I ever tell you that we've actually made quite a bit of money off of a video of Skylar? And it goes to Skylar. So do you remember that really famous viral video of my daughter that she talks about we're growing weed at our house?
Yeah.
Like she was in the little purple jacket. It went everywhere. And every 420 someone reposted the video. But that video has made a ton of money, like thousands and thousands of dollars from relicensing it. It all goes to my daughter, though. It goes into a bank account for her to have when she's older, and potentially like a college fund for her.
But you're taking your cut, right?
I'm a manager. I got to take my 15%.
What's so funny? I'm doing my taxes now, and I could see how easy and how that can happen. Someone kind of double dipping. I remember there's tons of stories of celebrities who have like charities, and what happens, and this is some sort of kind of where the family that runs the celebrity's charity is taking like 6-figure salaries from the nonprofit charity they're running. I mean, it's very weird. It's very grimy, and
I think also when there's so much money, like it's hard to keep track of that. Like think about having $100 million, and if your mom is just sitting there siphoning money away and off the top, and she's your business manager, and you're not really diving in, you don't know where that's going. So you're just assuming that everything is going as planned, and then one day you open up your eyes and you're like, holy crap, where did it all go? And you can't even answer that.
Yeah,
that's I think sad.
There's so many celebrities that have had issues with family members because of Dane Cook. I remember not too long ago had an issue with his brother, kind of taking some money from him. So wild thing. All right,
anyway,
9.
She didn't elaborate on how like where the money went or how much in total or what she was left with. But anyway, all right. Number 9, you said, what is it? Nick Lachey will not be charged with that whole battery after he clashed with a photographer. And he's actually not getting charged at all. This is, he got really, I feel like, lucky in this situation. So the DA or the district attorney's office confirmed to People magazine, they said Mr. Lachey has not been charged with misdemeanor assault and battery. Instead, he is participating in a LADA's pre-filing diversion program, which is established back in 2017. As part of these conditions, he must participate in anger management classes and attend Alcoholics Anonymous meetings. And then basically upon successful completion, everything will kind of go away and no criminal charge will be filed. So this is a big deal. If you remember, he was really pissed off. He had a confrontation with someone. I don't think it was TMZ, though, right? It was just a photographer out in the street. She was filming him when he was leaving. He was with his wife at the time and basically just caught him on a really bad day. And he like mumbled something. She's like, why are you so mad? He came back to the car, like reached in, grabbed the camera away from her, the cell phone away from her, and it ended up being a big deal. Everyone reported it. He ended up tweeting right afterwards, hey, sorry, last night after enjoying a great dinner with my wife and our dear friend, the paparazzi harassed us and as we walked back to our hotel. I clearly overacted. I've been in this game long enough that I know their antics and are sadly part of the deal. Stupid me, done. And so he is lucky he's not getting charged with this because it could have gone very poorly for him.
Yeah, it's he obviously knows that he overreacted, but I would like to know how the paparazzi were actually harassing them. That's the part that I'm not. What? Because they're taking photos of them. I mean, a photo of Nick Lachey and Vanessa is not that big of a deal. So I'd be curious of how he defines of harassing. Were they taking photos and kind of shooting as they walk down the street? But that's obviously I have to imagine he maybe had a drink in him, but yeah,
I don't know.
However, for TMZ or anyone else to say that I was violent or that I got physical with someone as reckless is absolutely false. Once again, TMZ likes to create their own clickbait narrative. Life's too short. We move on. Yeah.
Again, lucky because you can't touch other people's shit at the end of the day.
Not the first time it happened, not the last time. I mean, with Nick maybe, but not with other celebrities, which I'm surprised because I've got Nick on the street before. He's been pretty decent, Like I say decent, like it's not like he's like I don't know, he's fine. He's not a bad guy, but it was funny when we did that concert in Nebraska. I
Mhm.
felt like they were so in and out of that concert, and like they
Oh, Nick. Oh, that's right. I
remember
forgot
that.
about that. Yeah, so 98 Degrees was there, and like Jeff Timmons was like chatting it up, having a good time, and the other dude, I don't know his name, was
Yeah,
chill. But Nick Lachey was like, he went literally from the stage to this like curtained off little area, and then basically straight to the car, like no interaction with anyone. Didn't want to be seen, didn't want to be talked to. Like that, I just thought, you're in Nebraska, bro. Like this is small town. Like, I guess not small town, but like this is not LA or New York where you're being like hounded by 100,000 people. Like, you could have stopped. You could have said hi. That concert wasn't. There was a couple thousand people there. It wouldn't have been
yeah.
that bad to stop.
We were in a field. I mean, you could kind of say hi, but it was weird. Like I said hi to him. I was like, "Hey, what's up, Nick?" And he said hi to me, but I felt like he looked at me and he doesn't know my name, but maybe he
Mhm.
knows my face a little bit. So it was like, "Oh, hey, man!" Like, but I don't think he really got put it together. But
You know my
I
biggest
think
problem with him though.
what?
We were in Nebraska. It was 145 degrees that day, and he was wearing
Yeah,
a leather jacket. I was like, no, there's something wrong with you.
yeah. But if you remember one
I
of their
can't
songs,
trust someone when I'm sweating my balls off and he's in a leather jacket.
but you
Nothing
know
is
what?
worth looking that good for.
When he does the chorus of that song, "When I'm losing my mind," when he's doing that of that song, you have to wear a leather jacket when you do the chorus of that song.
You can't be in a boy band and not have leather on, right?
Yeah, at least leather pants. Some part of leather has got to be on you. I think we were told again. We were told this allegedly that they were paid 50,000 to do like that show, and they might have been on for what 45 minutes or so, an hour. How long would you say
Yeah.
they were on for?
I don't remember. All I remember was that O Town was fucking legit.
O Town was
They
fun, and they were
they
great.
got everyone up on their feet dancing like crazy. They were
Yeah,
awesome.
O Town was like surprisingly the biggest hit. I say surprisingly because I just never saw them perform. But I was like, oh, they put on a good show. And then they're the guys you want them to be. All right, moving along, number 8.
Cameron Diaz will likely not do another movie after, she got talked into doing this Jamie Foxx film. Coming out of retirement, she just really hates all the drama of Hollywood. She wants to just be a mom, and that's really, like, I guess, her focus in life. So, like I said, Jamie Foxx kind of got her to come out of retirement. They're filming this movie right now. There's been some stories that have hit the headlines, like Jamie having this absolute meltdown on the set of this movie over in the UK that they're filming right now, led to firing of 3 people. And it sounds like a lot of people talking are saying like she's just not into it. She doesn't want to do that anymore. And because it's over in the UK, it's taking her away from her family, her 3-year-old daughter, her husband Benji Madden, and it's just like not where she wants to be at this point in her life. She had retired because that's what she wanted to focus on, and she was like, "Oh, I'll step out of it, try this for a little bit," and it just doesn't sound like it's going as ideal as maybe she thought it would be going. So who knows? Don't people are saying don't expect to see her in another movie after this.
It's kind of crazy. It's
Do you
kind of
think
crazy.
this is true, or do you think that they're just strumming it up for publicity for the movie?
I think both. I
Yeah.
think both. I think there's a little bit of her just being uncomfortable with that part of the business and just her career. And then there's the other
Hmm.
part. It's like, hey, how do we utilize this to stir up some anticipation, some excitement for the movie? So I think it's both. What are your thoughts?
Um, I think like if you're really not into it, like why even come out of retirement anyway? Like if you don't want to be there, like you don't have to. But I figure she could find other projects. Like number one, you're filming in the UK, so like you're really far away from your family if that's what you want to do, and you could bring your family there, But she's working like 10-hour days nonstop. There's other projects that she could do closer to home, like she could work on a Netflix TV show. That's what a lot of people are doing these days. That's why Reese Witherspoon, Nicole Kidman, they're turning from these massive movie stars to huge television streaming stars because it pays well and you don't have to do all the crazy traveling.
I have a few questions, and I don't know think we have the answers for, but it's the questions are: A, does she need the money? B, did she have to audition for this role, or did they give it to her because she's just a name? Because
Well,
when you think
luckily,
of Cameron Diaz, I'm not like, oh my god, I need her in this movie. She's the best actress. No, I mean, listen, she's a fine actress. There's nothing wrong with her acting, but she's not a difference maker for the film, in my opinion.
Mhm.
And I don't know what this film's about. So,
So I've
you know,
got the answers for you.
thank you.
A, no, she doesn't need the money. B, no, she didn't have to audition. C, it's a big get because she's been retired, so people want to go see her in a movie.
I am not. Okay. I'm very surprised with some people.
I
Like,
honestly,
oh my God, Cameron Diaz is back. I need to go see this film.
there's
No.
people that want to see it. There's curiosity behind. She hasn't been in a movie or done anything in a very long time, so you want to see, does she still have the acting chops? You know, can she still pull it off? Or is she still going to bring people into the theaters? I think she will.
Listen, I've the two movies come to mind when I think of Cameron Diaz. One was obviously The Mask, classic film, and the other one was There's Something About Mary, which was unbelievable. So, I mean, she was great in those movies, but I almost think in those parts you could put someone else in those parts and they would have done just as good.
Whoa, that is some filthy talk you just said. You could
Maybe that
put
was too
someone else in
mean.
those parts. That was
Yeah,
mean.
that might have been.
Take
I'm
it
not trying
back,
to be
Adam.
mean. I was
Take
just
it back.
all right. I take it back. That was I'm
Not
trying to be
everyone
mean.
could make splooge in the hair be so funny, okay?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right, number 7.
Number 7, Kelly Ripa says that I guess her biggest complaint about her marriage to Mark Consuelos is how insanely jealous he used to be, and he admitted it. So they're starting off. They are now going to be coasting, and it's going to be live with Kelly and Mark. Is basically what the new show is going to be. He is filling in, or not filling in. He's taking over Ryan Seacrest's spot. But she's got a new podcast that she's doing called Let's Talk Off Camera. It's on Sirius, and so he sat down with her. They started talking about just insecurities in their relationship, and how they basically came into this entertainment industry together. They met on the set of the soap opera. Which soap opera was it? Do you remember?
One of the soap operas. I don't know.
One of the soap operas.
They're all the same
I
thing,
don't
right?
remember. Yeah, it was one of them. Shoot, I don't remember. It was
I
like
mean,
Days of Our Lives or something. Anyway, they met on the
yeah.
set of that, and so they're like, it only makes sense for us to like come into this career together and go out in the career together. So having him co-host would be a big deal. But anyway, going back to this podcast, they talked about marriage, and she said, my biggest complaint about you over the course of our marriage. And this is not a recent thing because it's definitely changed, but you used to be insanely jealous, and it was a hard pill to swallow. And then he went on to say, she said this, it was our first week of marriage because we didn't take our honeymoon until later. You were working. I went to visit you in Boston. She recalled, she said she went to this Italian restaurant, and the waiter was like a really cute old man. He was definitely like in his 70s, if not 80s. He leaned down and said, "And this is for you, Principessa." And I guess added, I thought it was so cute that this little man called me a princess. And I looked at him and gave him my sorry, I can't read this right now. I looked at him and I gave him my order in a very smiley way, and he walked away. And then she said that Mark picked a horrible fight that night. And she's like, it's an old man. Why are you jealous? And I guess his response was, I remember that. I was 25. I was pretty insane. And that, he's had a lot to learn since then.
Woo, I mean, I think it's cute that their thing is, hey, we started in this business together. We're going to end our career we're going to end our career together. This is it. I know we went through Michael Strahan. I know we went through Ryan Seacrest. This is how it ends. They can't end. If Mark cannot leave the show, this is what this is his new profession.
Yeah. I just like, is that healthy for their relationship to work together, live together? Like, that's a lot of time together, don't you think?
Yeah, but that show's easy. I mean,
like, I like that
it's an hour. It's only an hour show. They get up at the same time. They plus get there 7 a.m. and it's not terrible. It's not, and the kids are a little bit
if
older.
I had to live with you too, if I had to live with you, it would be like, like sit and talk all the time, and then like I like to have breathers from people. Like, especially
I could see them. Yeah, I can. Yeah, no, not me. I'll just keep calling you. I could see them doing the show. The show ends at 10, and then they leave, and then they go to the gym, and then they don't see each other until that night.
Yeah, you got to have separation a little bit, just for a healthy relationship.
I mean, they got a great gig. I mean, that show's only an hour, and when I mean an hour, it's only probably about 40 minutes. I mean, you were the host of that show for an episode. I mean,
Mhm.
how much time are you actually on camera? It's 42 minutes maybe?
Yeah, 42 minutes. I mean, you're
So
there
for
for an hour for sure, and then you got the pre-time, the makeup, and all that kind of stuff. But
wait, Dax, so if anybody don't know, Dax actually was they were looking for a
I was
placement
doing
for
the
Ripa,
competition. I was doing the Live with Kelly co-host with me competition.
and you came in second place, which is pretty incredible.
You just wanted to throw out that I was a loser again. Thanks.
No, dude,
Appreciate
you
it.
did pretty. We're talking about the show that you almost became the host on. I forgot about that. Actually, it's pretty insane. When you did that show, you hosted it with Kelly, right?
No, we were doing the competition, so we were doing bits and pieces throughout the episodes for a week, trying to basically get voted to stay on longer because it was like every day someone would get eliminated.
Interesting. I mean, they flew you out to New York. I mean, you.
They flew us out. They kept us in a hotel, like right down the street in like Times Square. I mean, I had a blast, and it was right off the heels of leaving TMZ, so it was really fun, just change of pace. But I didn't win,
And you
so
got.
I'm
But you,
here.
yeah, but you got to meet Kelly and everything, right?
Oh yeah, she was wonderful. She came back, she chatted with us, would like come off stage, tell us what a good job we were doing, all that kind of stuff.
Did that contest kind of not screw you up, but like didn't really go the way they planned? Because I thought the person was to be the host, like the new host, and it didn't.
So the guy who won, Richard Curtis, he was a teacher. He went back and he filled in a couple times. So and I think people really liked him. I think at the end of the day, they needed like a really big name to step in. That's why they got Seacrest. Honestly, I think that deal with Seacrest was probably in the works long before even that competition. So they may not have even needed someone there. You know what I'm saying? But they did something fun with the intent of, oh, we're going to be ending up getting Seacrest.
Interesting. It's an interesting way to think about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. That'd been a great gig if you got it, but
No
then
kidding,
again,
man.
and then you wouldn't have been on the
I
podcast
would
with
have
me.
been
So,
so rich, I would not even been talking to you right now.
do you know that I know a big name that was asked to possibly do the show and they turned it down because they didn't want to live in New York?
Who?
I don't like to bring up Martin Luther King Jr. That much. But no, there was a big name that was asked to do the show, and they turned it because they didn't want to live in New York. I mean, it's a grind to do that show 5 days a week, and
I was surprised that Seacrest said yes to it, honestly, because he's an LA
I was
guy
surprised
and
too.
he had American Idol going on. So for him to say, "Yeah, I'm going to move my whole life," it was shocking to me. But
Yeah,
if Mark doesn't work out, guys, I am totally available.
yeah. Would you move to New York if you got that job?
I would not want to move to New York. No, that would be really hard for me at this point. I have Trophy Smack going, like it just that would be a really tough transition.
All right, we're wasting too much time on this story.
I
We
know,
told you guys we're getting in
seriously.
and out. We're just kind of, this just turned to a phone call. Number 6.
Katie Holmes' 16-year-old daughter Suri is already applying to college, which is wild because I'm sitting here thinking like she was just born the other day, but she wants to study fashion in New York. And Tom Cruise not going to have any say into where she goes because he has quote unquote no part in her life. And we kind of knew that. We knew that Tom has not been around. He hasn't been, spending any time with her for many, many years. But I guess a source close to Katie told the Daily Mail that when Suri turned 7, by the way, she turned 17 next month. And she sent out some applications and she's leaning towards studying fashion in New York City. And, this would be a good career for her. I feel like you can still be dabbling in like using your mom and your dad's fame to kind of get the doors open for you, but have your own career path because fashion can be very like your own thing and add your little touch to it. So I think that could be a really good career for her. And by the way, she reportedly has like a $5 million stash of clothes and apparel in her closet because so many people have thrown clothes at her for so many years because she's just that celebrity kid. She was like I feel like she was like the first really big name celebrity kid for my generation of coming up. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not talking about like Kate Hudson and that kind of stuff, but like Suri was who we talked about almost every day at TMZ and watched her birth story unfold.
Yeah, it's wild that she's getting to that age because you were there when she was first born, pretty
Mm-hmm.
much. But I think it's more wild that we are not talking about more about Tom Cruise's relationship with Suri.
Thank
I mean,
you.
here's one of the biggest
Thank you.
actors in the world, and when we praise him and we treat him like the big star that he is, because he is a great actor. With that said, how are more people not talking about how he doesn't talk to his
It's
daughter?
wild. Like, why do people just like let him have a pass on this? So if this was anyone else that just abandoned their child, you would never let them live it down, right? Like it would be the
Yeah,
talk all the time. Oh, this deadbeat dad. Like if it was, let's be honest, if it was Chris Brown, everyone would be like, oh, deadbeat dad, and ex-girlfriend beater. Like that name has not gone away from him. How has Tom Cruise avoided being labeled as a deadbeat dad? Is it because he's talented?
yeah.
Is it because he's rich and white? Like why does he get a pass? I don't understand.
Yeah, you're right, and it bothers me that no one asks him, no one presses him on the red carpet. How is this not being exposed in the media? Where I feel like for a guy like him, this needs to be addressed. I mean, we don't for people that we idolize and we put on this huge platform, we can't be praising someone who doesn't have a relationship with his daughter just because of. I mean, I don't even just
Religion.
because it's religion. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. I don't know. It's just
Just
the whole thing's
that
just
that that whole thing is so weird to me. Like if you're willing to just give up your relationship with your child for Xenu, like come on, bro.
yeah. All right. Moving along to number 5.
And this will be our last podcast because Tom Cruise has canceled us.
Yeah, Scientologists are at our door. Knock knock. Number
Do you
5.
think does this mean he won't be coming on the podcast anytime soon?
I don't. I don't think we could get Tom Cruise's driver on the podcast. So I don't think we're going to be able to get him on the podcast.
All right. Number 5. Megan Fox and Machine Gun Kelly are quote unquote on a break, and they put a pause to their whole wedding plans. This is according to Us Weekly. They have hit the pause button. They're taking some time apart. We know what happened during the Super Bowl weekend or week when they got into that big argument. She deleted her Instagram account, but not before posting like some kind of cryptic photos and quoting Beyonce. Well, it doesn't seem like they have quite recovered. And to that point, we haven't really seen them out at all. We saw Valentine's Day, some shots of them. So in my mind, it really kind of seems like they're done.
Yeah.
And maybe just are not vocalizing it yet. I know that they said that they've stalled the wedding plans as they work on their issues. And I got to think, well, it's probably not going to work out then.
Yeah,
And
it's been. Yeah, it's weird that we're not as a couple that was so photographed and so in the news when they first started dating, and as they were in the middle of
But we
as
said that, Adam, at the very beginning. We said we're like, this relationship, it's too like hot and heavy and extreme and wild and like has so much pizzazz at the beginning that it's gonna fizzle out. Like these two people can't stay together. It's almost too much. It's like oil and water,
So, do you think this ends well, or doesn't? They don't cross the finish line.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, I just made that up.
I
I have no idea. Do they get? Do they
I
get
didn't even know how to
married, or do
answer
they?
it. I was like, I don't know how to answer this question. No, I mean, I don't think they're going to last, if that's what you're saying. I don't think this is going to end in a marriage. I think that it was fun while it lasted. I think they both got a shit ton of publicity off of this relationship. But I think that's where it ends. They did good, but like, who does she now date after him?
Nick Cannon, Tyga. I don't know. One of those two guys.
No, she's got to go. She's got to go bigger movie star at this point. I
Yeah, but a
think that
bigger
like
movie star wouldn't do it. Pete Davidson. No, he
and
wouldn't
then
do
you
it.
look at Brian Austin Green, who's like thriving. Him and what's her name?
Sharna Barger.
Sharna.
Sharna.
And Sharna, like they're having babies. They look like the happiest two couple. Like I got to imagine there's some regret there at some level.
You know what? There's some billion out there that would support her and date
That's
her.
what she needs. She needs a billionaire. That's what a lot of like that's the next step up.
That's the end. Look what Giselle's doing. That's what Salma did. Like, listen, you're the star. You already have the fame, but how about to have money that's limitless? So
Yeah.
she'll just date a billionaire.
We should help her out.
Yeah,
You know any billionaires?
Dude, you work for you own a company with a billionaire. Call him. I'm sure he has some friends.
He's married.
Yeah, well, he's got some friends, I'm sure, that are looking to fund an actress. All right, number 4.
Tekashi 6ix9ine was hospitalized this week after suffering from an attack inside a Florida gym. So the 26-year-old rapper was at an LA fitness sauna on Tuesday, and that's when he got attacked by multiple men, and that's according to his attorney who talked to TMZ. And they said that he was inside the sauna when a bunch of dudes kind of walked in and just started stomping on him, just taking him out. Ended up having to go to the hospital, but apparently what was said, and I don't know if this is confirmed or not, but in the video, it appears that someone is saying, fuck a rat. And so obviously he is still not welcomed into a lot of communities after he pled guilty to federal charges and admitted his participation in a gang, but essentially ratted people out. And people have not really forgiven him for snitching. And this is clearly a snitching situation.
Yeah, I mean the video is pretty wild. I'm trying to see. I'm curious if they're going to find the guys because the video, it's pretty specific. It shows the guys who beat him up.
Like talk about some gang territory. LA Fitness sauna. That is a dangerous place.
The worst part is I would have been naked. Like he was lucky he had like underwear on, a jacket. Like I go into the sauna like with a towel on. So like there's nothing more humiliating than getting beat up while naked if it was me. I was in the sauna yesterday and I'm just only imagining if some guys came in just start beating me up just all naked. Just like, there's nothing more terrible than that.
Problem would be I'd be like, oh no, don't let my back touch the sauna floor. Like think how much sweat and like herpes are on the floor. Like that would be my problem. It wouldn't be like you punch me in the face. I'd be like, oh no, I'm like touching the floor with my bare skin. That's gross. I see people in there. I go to the gym and I see people walk in and they literally like take their shoes off and put it on the wood and it like makes me gag.
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly what happens in a sauna. It's pretty gnarly that Tekashi 6ix9ine worked out at a LA Fitness in general. And it's just kind of like, especially like in a Florida gym, he didn't have like security with them. Like he's just like, you understand that you made a career of talking smack.
Do you think this is people that were working out and then just decided like, oh, that's him, we're going to go beat him up? Because you can't have like a group of like 5 guys just blow past the front attendant and walk to the sauna. Like that just is weird.
That's the part I think everyone's trying to figure out, like what were the motives of these guys, how they know that he was there. But the weird part is, I mean, it's a tough video to watch because I don't like those fighting videos that you see online. But like the way the guys were kicking him when he was on the ground was like WWE style, where like they stomped the ground and him at the same time, where like they make the noise on the ground. I was like, wait, who kicks people like that? I mean, again, the video is kind of quick, but it's, you know what? Tekashi 6ix9ine pissed off a lot of people. He sort of asked for this stuff, and then
he always flaunts his money and is flying around. It's like he always wants things to happen to him. Like he's baiting people. So I'm not really surprised that it finally happened.
I'm not surprised. I mean, I think it was only a matter of time. Fortunately for him, it doesn't look like he's in too bad of shape. I mean, it sounds like these guys could have hit him worse. Yeah. But just a wild video. And if that's the thing is that makes the story. It's one thing if we didn't see the video, but if you go online, you can see the video. And it's, I don't know, it's one of those videos I was interested in watching because I was just curious, but it's also a tough video to watch.
Yeah, I don't like watching
Number 3.
Amanda Bynes placed on a 72-hour psychiatric hold. This is a sad story. I've been reading all the stories about this week. It just sucks watching her, not be as healthy because I was really kind of rooting her on after she was out of her conservatorship. It seemed like she had gotten her mental health situated and she was doing really well, going to fashion school. Well, we're about a year out of this conservatorship at this point, and they're on. I don't remember what day. Sunday, she called 911 on herself. She was reportedly wandering around downtown Los Angeles, naked and alone when she came out of a psychotic episode, right? Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
She supposedly flagged down a car and asked for help. And then law enforcement went out, grabbed her, and placed her on a 5150 hold, and now have extended it for 72 hours. And it's just, I know her parents aren't looking to necessarily restart the conservatorship, but clearly she really needs some help. I think the one really good. Oh, and sorry to keep going on this story. This was not like a one day thing. Apparently, she was like, it had been a week of her wandering around. She parked her car in Long Beach. It ended up getting towed. She then kind of like was hitchhiking and taking public transport and wound up in downtown LA. And so like she was on one for a good week or so. The good sign is that she realized that she had an issue, and that's why she called 911 on herself. I think that's all positive. It just sucks that we're here talking about it, because I was hoping she was making more progress. And I guess her ex-boyfriend had said she stopped taking her meds, so maybe that was part of it. And oh man, just sucks.
It's a bummer. It's tough. And I feel bad for the parents. And the reason I feel bad for them is, I think in the past few years, obviously with the conservatorship made a lot of news. We heard with Brittany and her dad. And I think a lot of people have a negative perspective when they hear that word conservatorship, and mental health. And clearly, I mean, Amanda needs some sort of guidance or help, but who's to know, or who's to decide if the parents are actually doing something good? Because the way the internet, or the way people the media kind of put a negative spin on this
I was going to say, I feel like her parents are afraid to put her back in a conservatorship because of the hatred that they got because of the Britney situation. You're right.
Yeah.
There's like a negative connotation for conservatorships now. Not that you're trying to help the person, but you're hurting them. And so they probably are like, oh, we don't want to go down. We don't want that heat on us again, when it's like, if your daughter needs it, you may have to go down that road.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a really tough thing. And Amanda Bynes was supposed to be at 90s Con in Connecticut this past week, and she was going to do an appearance, and a lot of people are excited, where she was actually going to make some money, where she would charge people for photos and autographs. And then she basically became a no-show there. And I asked people who were there, like, hey, was Amanda Bynes there? Thinking there was going to be a story. And they're like, she didn't show up, or she canceled. I was like, that's strange. And you didn't hear from her for a while. And that was a good thing, because you're like, okay, maybe she's just doing what she needs to do to get healthy. Then this news comes out. It's like, there's something obviously going on there, and hope for the best, because it sucks.
I hope she gets better, man.
Yep. All right. Number two,
Gisele Bundchen debunking a bunch of the Tom Brady divorce rumors that were swirling around for a lot of time. Like, you remember the big rumor about her saying, like, you have to either choose me or football.
Yeah.
And she said, no. None of that was true. She said that the end of that marriage was the death of my dream. She said that she thought that he was going to be her partner for life. And she, said, listen, it's not as salacious as everyone thinks it is. She said, there's times in your life where you start to grow apart, and you start to think a certain way. And that's kind of what happened. And I guess she was even crying during this Vanity Fair interview, and she was wiping away tears talking about this, because she said, I believed in fairy tales when I was a kid. And I think it's beautiful to believe in that. And I mean, I'm so grateful that I did. And that, all the fans giving her a hard time. She's like, that wasn't the case. I supported him. I would still support him. And I would have continued to support him if that relationship would have survived the test of time, essentially. So she was not in there making him make a decision. There was no ultimatums.
Yeah, it's I'm surprised that she actually did this interview, but I'm not surprised. And actually, if you're a publicist, at first I was like, why is she talking? Just don't even address it. But I think it was just to clear the noise a little bit. Obviously, probably before this interview, there was a few things that they said, okay, we need to oversee this story before it's published. And there's a few things that we don't want to get into, but we just want to kibosh some of the things, control the narrative to some extent. So, because I don't think Tom talking about it.
He's talked about it a bit, but I think there's some rumors that when you hear about yourself all the time, and you're this famous, there's got to be a point where you're like, I just want to clear it up and be like, guys, that's not the truth. She said it was very hurtful and the craziest thing she's ever heard. And if you were a supportive wife, and you were into football, and you wanted to see him succeed, but you just aren't meshing on a level that you need to be in a relationship, but like the public is turning you into the enemy or the villain, you want to get your statement out there, right?
Yeah. No, but it was tastefully done.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
give her credit because obviously before this interview, there was a few things that they couldn't really get into. Obviously, her new relationship and his maybe potential new relationship. But again, they want to control the narrative a little bit. So it's like, hey, listen, we will do the story with you, but here's the things that it's not going to come out of this. We're not going to talk about if I'm going to get married again. We're not going to talk about new relationships. But here's what I will say is this. This is agreement, shake hand, boom, let's go. Let's move forward.
Yeah.
So it's a win-win for everyone, but is this going to make you pick up a magazine? Absolutely not.
No, I mean, I picked up an article talking about the magazine. That was good enough. But she did. One of the quotes did say, "I have always cheered for him. I would continue forever." She said, "If there's one person I want to be the happiest in the world, it's him. Believe me, I want him to achieve and to conquer. I want his dreams to come true. That's what I really, really want from the bottom of my heart." I mean, I hope she's being genuine. It sounds like it to me.
The one thing I would say is she didn't really mention of us like having a relationship going forward. Like, hey, like Orlando Bloom and Miranda Kerr when they broke up, that's a weird couple to bring up, but they're like, hey, we're always going to be family. Like, it's for them. It's not like, no,
well,
like
you don't have a choice
done.
when you have multiple children together. You are going to be tied to that person for the rest of your life, whether you like it or not. You chose to procreate, and so now you're connected to that person forever.
Yeah. All right, Dax, the number one story of the week.
Nope, that's it. We're all done here.
Nope. No, we're not. It's the number one story of the week. Of course, we're going to bring up the Vanderpump Rules.
Oh, Adam, you're going to make me talk about these.
You had me full for a second. That was like a pause. But wait, are we done? Yeah, we got to bring up Vanderpump Rules. Everyone is talking about the reunion that Andy Cohen's going to be hosting. There's so much going on there. Will Sheena and Raquel be friends ever again? Obviously, they're not going to be allowed in the room. They're all there. They're all going. Cast member is there.
So the big story, though, that everyone is talking about is this video of Raquel, who is sitting outside of a nail salon in LA, and a photographer comes up to her and starts just talking to her. She gave this guy literally a 10-minute interview outside the nail salon. And a lot of people are asking, is this a setup? Did she know? And after watching the full video, I'm going to say it was a setup. And again, that's all good. Because if it wasn't a setup, why did she talk? Like, you've got a reunion coming up the day after this paparazzi video. Why would you spill all the beans to some dude on the side of the street when you've got the Bravo thing coming up the next day? Like, I almost feel like Bravo, it was kind of an F you to Bravo. Like, I'm going to give away all the details before I go on and do your thing.
Yeah. I mean, I don't blame them. I don't know. We don't know if it was a setup shot or not. Or we just don't.
Okay, from the bottom of your heart, what do you believe?
I believe it was a setup shot.
Yeah, me too. So
I didn't think about that. Sorry for the pause. I didn't really think about that. And here's the reason why I think it's a setup shot, because it's a way for me to A, control the narrative, B, to have final say on the cuts, and C, to make some money. So I don't know if she's getting paid, but she's like, screw it. If everyone's making money on this, I want to make some money. So I think and I don't think it's much money as much a lot of people think, but
it's got to be a lot of people picked it up. This was a big deal. I think the part where they were asking, like the photographer was asking her about like, oh, how did this like evolve into a relationship like with a dude who was already taken? And she said it started out as a friendship and turned into something more. But I'm sure we'll go into detail about all of that at the reunion. Again, I feel like these are answers that if you weren't into it and it wasn't a setup thing, you would just be like, oh, I'm sorry, this is not the time. Like, people don't give these answers when they're in the middle of massive media scrutiny.
No, and she was shot at the airport before that whole thing went down, and she didn't talk to the camera. So now she decided to talk to the camera, which is sort of interesting. As we're recording this podcast, they are filming the reunion right now. Sheena and Raquel are there's a restraining order. Raquel put a restraining order against Sheena because she allegedly hit her in New York City after that she found out about the affair. Sheena said, no, I did not. You know what happened. So there's a restraining order. So like legally they can't really be in the same room. So we're gonna find out obviously what happened or how they're gonna do the taping, because they both know they're there, but for legal reasons they can't be in the same room. So I guess Sheena's gonna be in the trailer watching it live as Raquel's in the room. From what we know, they did separate interviews too. Andy did separate interviews with Tom, with other cast members. One thing, we've been talking about in our private Facebook group is how, it's almost like overly done with it. I'm almost over this story.
Dude,
as much as
I'm
I was so
so
invested
over
in
it.
it. It's just because they're all talking about it. And it's just like,
No, you know why I'm over it? Because I don't watch the fucking show. So
I don't eat at the
can't
restaurant.
relate
I eat
to
at
it.
Olive Garden.
So I watched the trailer for next season or whatever the
Yeah.
hell they just released, and I'm watching it and I'm just like, I don't know who any of these people are. Like, this is not exciting to me. Like, I can't even recognize, I'm sorry, like Ariana or Raquel or Sheena without their makeup on, because I don't watch the show enough to know what they look like when they're just like lounging around the house. So I'm just watching it like, what is happening right now?
Yeah. No, I get it.
And I'm talking about them every single day, and I'm just like, I'm over it.
Yeah, I get it. So, I guess we're just at this point now. It's like I don't want to do media outlets are doing stories about the reunion, but it's like just let me watch the reunion. It doesn't matter at this point. We pretty much know everything. We're just going to hear different sides, and we just got to wait to hear the sides at the reunion. But
see them
that
bicker and fight.
I know,
I talk all this shit, but I'll probably still watch the reunion.
just fight in a sauna like Tekashi 6ix9ine. Do it, come on, people. That's a callback to the number 5 story, you guys. Anyway, that's our Raw rundown, the top 10 stories of the week. Thank you guys for listening. If you're watching us on YouTube, like and subscribe, leave a comment wherever you listen to your podcast, especially on the Apple app. If you go to Hollywood Ross, and if you go all the way to the bottom, say a few kind words. We'll actually read your review live on air. It's the best thing to do to support us. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Shout out to our private Facebook group, Off the Record. It's a really fun community where it's all things pop culture and entertainment news. Follow me at Adam Glyn, Glyn. Follow Dax Holt at Dax Holt. See you guys next time.
Bye.
And scene.
Guys, hope you liked that video. We got a lot more where that came from.
Hit that bell, like, subscribe, share with a friend. The best thing you do to support us is really doing that. And we really need the money because we need hair gel.